to take what I was doing was a very simple, you know, D chord, A chord, and G chord. You know, a lot of people, you know, beginners are playing that. And then what Tim is going to do is kind of deconstruct the guitar part he was playing and just kind of his thought process behind it, which I think is really valuable for players out there.
Well, you know, if you're recording with an artist who sings great or whatever, these people, they're great. They bring simple songs over and you try and embellish them and make them sound like records. It's kind of what I do for a living. And so when you play those chords underneath, I try and find a part that's going to add I'm orchestrating guitar. And so I take some notes up above and I try and find some notes that in combination create kind of a magical, you know, cloud over the chords you're playing.
Yeah, well, we'll zoom in and you're going to actually show it. All right, so
yes, I will.
Let's check it out.
So usually a songwriter brings a simple song, and there's a lot of feeling in the lyric and the melody and everything, but the chords are often simple. And so you were doing that. You were playing D and A and G, and those chords still appear all the time right in front of me. So what I try and do is orchestrate a part above it that takes it to a new level. And so what I just did there was I grabbed this D chord, this position right here on the 7th fret, smashing my index finger down, and I think what I did a few seconds ago was so what I try and do is create a little nursery rhyme. And I went from D to A, here's D, with a little melody attached to it. And then I walked down, just down the scale, and I went, here I go again. And that's where I land on A. So here's a D triad. Here's a D triad with this note added to it. Here's the A little triad, and I'm just walking down to it. And then when you land on the G chord, I do this G right here, which puts me a little bit into the Keith Richards, you know, way of thinking. So I'll try and do the passage. Now, the thing I'm trying to do is keep my hand in one position, and in doing that, I can connect all the notes in a very fluid and seamless and kind of endless way. Because I want my guitar part to ring constantly over yours. I don't want any gaps in it. A, and then G, and then back down to D.
So that G chord, for instance, obviously you're so, I mean, you know exactly what to play, whenever to play it. How did you first, when you were first learning, for instance, that voicing for G, did you think about like where the root was, or how did you first, like for someone that's trying to, I only know, I don't know that much yet, like this is too much for me. How would you tell them to kind of how to figure that out?
I'll start with the D. I'll do all three chords. So here's the D that you might know. Okay. If you go up here, there's another D.
Just one that you memorize.
Yeah, D appears in several places on the guitar. Here, 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 here. So what I'm doing is I'm taking the two D notes that happen right here, and I'm adding D notes underneath. And the thing about this is once you learn it, you know it for the rest of your life. It's not like you have to keep relearning it, and there's not that much, there are Ds here, 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 and here, and the D that I'm using is an extension of kind of this one right here.
So it's like a little bit of two.
Yeah, exactly. It's this D here, which might be the first D you learn might be here, right. The second one might be here.
Yeah.
So I'm grabbing a little bit of this one and a little bit of this one.
Beautiful.
So that's a D.
Awesome.
Now we move to the A, which is based on this A right here, which is just, you might know this, you might begin to know this as a beginner. You have a D here, and as the chord slides up, it just gets named differently. So here's D, D sharp, E, F, F sharp, G, G sharp, and A. So there's the A I'm using. So to review, here's the D, which is part of this D and part of this D. Here's the A, which is the same as this D down here, but slid up. And then when we get to the G, just like the other chords, G happens several places on the neck. There's one here, there's one here, there's one here. But this is a funny one. The G I was using is based on this G. And it's really kind of easy if you think about it, because all that's based on is the C down here. So you might know that C chord already. If I use these fingers, so I make this finger available for barring, and I slide it up, we have C, C sharp, D, D sharp, E, F, F sharp, G.
Sometimes this is referred to as the cage system, or
yeah, you've taught me something then. Okay, good. It's the cage system.
I mean, a name is a name.
Okay.
I think of that as a C shape.
Yeah, yeah. So that's the best way to look at that one. Now, this guy just disappears and gets out of the equation, and all of a sudden I'm Keith Richards, and I can go. I'm going from D here to G here. And to really simplify that, I'm going from D here to G here.
Got it. Sweet. So, and then the part again?
A to G. I can't talk and play at the same time.
I know.
I'll learn.
Sorry. Yes. So something I'm noticing that's really cool is, yeah, you're kind of, I see how you're kind of staying in a zone and trying to find little movements
Yeah.
between the chords in one spot, and you get kind of like I don't know, little inner melodies or...
Yeah, that's the idea, is by leaving my hand in this one position, I'm forced to make decisions that are in some ways more creative, because I'm restricting myself and I'm not allowed to move around here. So, and then A here, and then G here. And what it also does, it gives you more of a chance for the notes to all ring and over-ring together, because that's the pleasing sound, is when the notes ring together.
Now, are there times where you're in a session and you are doing the basic D, A, and G chords, that the open regular chords?
Absolutely. Like, there might be a part, there's usually several guitar parts on a record, and there might be a part that's...
Hey, man, thanks for breaking that down.
You got it.
Very informative.
Anytime.
Would like to thank Tim Pierce for visiting the Guitar Jam studio.